Howdy. Now I'm stepping into a unknown territory. I have Cubase, but I haven't really worked with it. So this will be a learning experience for me as well as for you, I hope. Cubase is extremely extensive as Pro Tools, Logic Pro X or Studio One. I just saw an interesting YouTube video on a digital audio workstation performance with new Mac M2 and M1 processors. What was interesting in that was Reaper was the best for utilizing all the CPU cores to the max, and Cubase came second. So Cubase is utilizing your Mac M1 and M2 CPU cores to the full extent. Cubase is being used by many composers specifically for film scoring. But of course it can be used and is being used to create any kind of music. So let's dive into Cubase and see how it really looks. So let's start Cubase and see what it is made of. Similar to other DAWs excluding Ableton Live, Cubase begins with a window from which you can select to work on your recent project or start a new one. Let's initiate a blank project. Now we are in the main view, where you have a stereo input and output. It's essentially an empty canvas that operates in a linear mode like others. From the main view, you can perform similar tasks as in any other digital audio workstation. You can see your main controls over here. On the left-hand side, you have the inspector, as you have in many other DAWs. On the right-hand side, you have your browser, which allows you to browse your content. Again, similar to some DAWs where everything regarding your content has been collected into one place. Your instruments, your effects, loops, and so on and so forth. When adding a track, you can choose from various options: an audio track, an instrument track, a sampler track, and a MIDI track. Cubase also offers group, effect, VCA, marker, ruler, and folder tracks. But that's not all. You can also include a tempo, signature, arranger, transpose, chord, and a video track into your project. Let's look further. Here you have your mix console, your editor, your sampler control, your chord pad, and your MIDI remote. Personally, I worked with Cubase a bit and programmed my Monogram console to work with Cubase and instruments like Spitfire Audio. Now let's add a few tracks. First, let's add an instrument track, maybe a drummer. Let's maybe take some groove into it as well, so that we have something to play around. Next, let's add an audio track so we can see how to import loops and samples. Now we have an instrument track and an audio track in the project. Let's explore the editors. When you double click on a MIDI clip, it will open a MIDI editor, as you can see. This is a pretty much standard in all digital audio workstations. Similarly, when you click on an audio file, it will open an audio editor, allowing you to edit audio. Let's return to MIDI editor. In Cubase, what's interesting is that in this tab, you can actually change between a key editor, drum editor, and score editor. This is pretty useful when working with drums and drum patterns. The same type of functionality can be discovered in other DAWs as well, and we will look on those later. As we have now added few tracks, let's look back again the mixer. The mixer is pretty versatile, like in Pro Tools, Logic Pro X, and Studio One. Here also you can add effect tracks, groups, and VCAs. So it's extensive in that manner. So this was it with a brief introduction to Cubase. It will be interesting to start working on a project in Cubase and see how it really works. Next we will jump in the Reason. It will be the last but not the least to have a general overview. After the Reason intro, we will dive into more practical things, starting with configuring audio to your digital audio workstation. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for the channel. Bye now.